Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. It is celinelizette with my second YouTube video. Yes, I am a baby YouTube content creator, so any positive feedback is greatly appreciated. Likes, comments, telling me if this video is of value to you, what else you would want to hear in the future, things like that. And of course, subscribe and share, all that good stuff. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about how to feel confident in quitting your job. Yes, I finally pulled the plug. My last day was June 1st, and I put in my 2 weeks notice before that. So I'm extremely excited, extremely happy. I don't know if you can tell, but I do seem a lot more glowy in this video than my first video, if you watched the first video. And I'm not just saying that because my hair was up in a bun, it was dark, all that, but really, truly from the inside, I feel really great about my decision. I feel great overall. I'm in high positive vibes. So I want to help, those obviously, if you're looking at this video, I'm assuming you want to quit your job and it's something that's probably stressing you out because that is definitely not an easy decision to make. I truly understand. I was extremely anxious and stressed out for about a year and a half before I finally made this decision. So I completely empathize with how you are probably feeling. Therefore, I wanted to make this video about what I did, talk a little bit about my journey again. From the first video, I did mention how I was on a spiritual journey. I also talked about this squirrel story that, I'm not even kidding, actually added value to the process of me making this decision, and pretty much asking for even signs from the universe. And I don't know if you're spiritual or not, but it truly did give me more comfort in making the decision. So yeah, I'll talk about what I did and how I finally got the courage to make the decision, pull the plug, and how to feel great afterwards. Sorry, I have to wait until she's in a comfortable position. Okay, so first and foremost, the most important thing that you can do in order to make yourself feel comfortable before you quit your job is to plan out as much as you can. And although that might seem like the obvious thing to do to most people, I think if you're anything like me, thinking about planning can actually give you a lot of anxiety and overwhelm you. And I think that's why it took me so long to actually want to start planning, because I always knew, like from the research that I had done around quitting your job, like obviously you need to plan this, this, and this. And there's just so many things that can be covered when you plan. Like, I don't think you can fall short of covering things. Like, there's so many little details, and I was like, oh my God, there's just too much. Like, not even looking at the different things I have to plan, but just thinking about what should be planned. It definitely just overwhelmed me, and that is what prevented me from wanting to plan in the first place. So I think it really comes down to planning enough for you to feel comfortable, and obviously covering like your basic necessities and things that are affecting your day-to-day living situation. So that's probably the most obvious, like things like rent, your savings. If you don't have anything lined up afterwards, are you going to use some of your savings to pay rent if you want to still live by yourself? I am actually deciding to go live with my parents, and it was just the hardest thing for me to come to terms with, but it was something that I'm willing to do just because it doesn't make sense for me to continue living out here in LA with my expensive rent for the studio, even though I absolutely love my freedom. I love doing whatever I want, whenever I want. But yeah, like I said, it just doesn't make sense. My savings would really deplete quickly. So I would rather temporarily give that up and work my ass off to make money in other ways, pursuing my passions, doing things that I know would make me a lot happier than where I was at. So those are things that you have to think about, especially if you don't have something else lined up as far as jobs go, which I don't. So I had to think about that. And that was the hardest part when it came to planning. Once I figured that part out, then it was kind of easier to plan the rest. So like, I have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. And I think that's extremely important to have backup plans, just because, especially in this time right now that we're in, it's possible your ideal plans may not happen and things can fall through. I know I was looking at jobs before I decided to quit, and I was honestly just trying to jump ship. I was really just trying to get any other role that would take me. And it was really, really hard. I had never been rejected so much in my life. And now looking at it, I'm really grateful, because I know I was just running away from what I hated, but wasn't running to anything. And that's not the way that you want to go, because you can really end up unhappy in that way. So yeah, it was hard to not get anything, but that's why I have a plan B and a plan C now. So my plan B is that if the things that I'm working on don't happen for me, it's possible that this YouTube channel may not, be a hit, and that's fine. I would just accept that and know that there's something better for me out there, and it's not what I'm meant to do. I'm okay with that. And plan B would be to go look at other corporate jobs. I may have to go back to the corporate world, even though that's not what I think I want. I don't know. Maybe there was a different position that would have been more fulfilling for me. It's just possible that I was in the wrong thing. Sales engineering wasn't for me. And there's a lot more jobs out there. So being open-minded is something that I think is essential as well, because I am planning to use law of attraction and manifestation. And honestly, we all are manifesting, whether we know it consciously or we're unconscious. It doesn't matter. You are still manifesting. If you've ever listened to Abraham Hicks or have read some of the law of attraction manifestation resources, then you know that it's crucial that you are taking the path of least resistance. You are asking for what it is you want, focusing on what you want, and making sure that you aren't stressing out about what you want. You ask for what you want and you let the universe have it, and you have faith that it's coming to you. And you stay in positive vibes, high frequency, and that's why I keep talking about that. So it is essential that you do that, which if you are closed-minded, and if I were to be closed-minded and the other, plan A doesn't work out and I have to go to plan B, like if I'm stressing out about that, I'm just gonna keep getting more closed doors and more basically doors being shut in my face. So I'm choosing to be open-minded and have that as my plan B. And plan C would be if I can't find anything out here, since I was looking for jobs out here, I didn't get anything, especially with the whole pandemic. We don't know what's gonna happen. Anything can happen next. Aliens could invade Earth, like we don't know. So plan C for me is that I would go back to Northern California, which is where I did the first part of my job at. Basically, it was a training program in Silicon Valley for engineering, and that was honestly hell for me. I hated Silicon Valley. It is not my place. I'm a SoCal gal, and I'm specifically an LA gal, and it was more so that I hated it because of the work that I was doing. I also did not get along that well with the people who were in the program. But it makes sense just because I was never passionate about engineering. A lot of things went down back there, but ultimately, and that is where my breaking point started happening. I didn't become depressed until I moved back to LA, actually, in the actual job of a sales engineer. But before I got depressed, I actually had my breaking point that's what started breaking down my foundation, like internally, and I started changing as a person. So that's more on my spiritual journey, but pulling it back in, I would move back to Northern California if I had to, and that's a possibility. So yeah, I think those big picture next steps are really important, at least the minimum of what you should plan having a next step. And, even a break can be a next step, and figuring out, decompressing, figuring out what it is that you would find more enjoyable as far as work goes. That can be a next step as well. But just making sure financially your situation isn't going to stress you out, as well as your living situation. Those are really the basic things that need to be covered. It really goes back again to each individual and what's best for them, what makes them feel more comfortable, and just planning out as much as you can without being overwhelmed and stressing yourself. Just some extra tips or things that I planned out was also looking at like my benefits, my medical coverage. That's actually one of the reasons why I planned my last day to be June 1st. For multiple reasons. One, June 1st was my birthday. So internally I was like, this is my gift to myself. It's a new chapter. I'm 26 now. Like I'm ending the old chapter, starting the new. But also because my company gave us paid time off for our birthday, so I didn't even have to work my last day. A third reason was because I had found out from my research that our medical coverage would be for the entire month of whatever month the day you quit on lands in. So the entire month of June was covered for me, even though I quit the first day of June. Another strategic thing that I planned, astrology is a huge thing for me. It's actually really helped me throughout this entire journey. I've used astrology so much, but I've also been the astrology queen since 2008. That's when I first started getting into astrology, and it's just been a huge part of my life. So it will be talked about throughout my videos just because I always talk about astrology. But yeah, so June, up to June 25th, Venus is in retrograde. I don't know when it started, but I know we are in Venus retrograde now. And if you know anything about astrology, Venus rules all things beauty. So you should not make any, facial appearance changes. Anything to your appearance that could be changed that is kind of drastic, you should avoid doing during a Venus retrograde. So it ends June 24th. June 25th, my nose surgery is scheduled. It is partly medical, partly cosmetic, and I decided to schedule it while I still have medical insurance, so it would be a lot cheaper. Of course, I still have to pay a good amount, but it's a really good discount, so that was also strategic. And yeah, I did it after Venus retrograde, so I planned all those little things out. Of course, those are not the most important things, but it was just a little bonus and cherry on top because I felt really good that I had quit when I decided to quit.